talk more about these movements now with Ridwaan Moolla, who's the CEO at eNCA Markets. Ridwaan, thank you very much for your time this evening. Let's start with that overall market performance that we saw today. I mentioned in my intro that for the last 2 days, the JSE has been closing quite high up in the green, although there haven't been that much of a big volume in terms of trading. So what would you say were some of the big contributors to today's close?
So today, I mean, if you look at just the top 40 and the big heavyweights, I mean, Naspers and Exara and them, I mean, they led the top 40 losses. Naspers down well over 4%, EXX as well. But like you just said just now, I mean, we've had some nice green days. So, I mean, that does also speak a lot to profit taking. You know, people also seeing quite a nice jump yesterday with Naspers. So today it was a bit expected that there would be a bit of a drop. But yeah, majority of the market was looking okay all the way through the day, except for those big heavyweights. I mean, your Standard Banks, First Rands, they were all up just over 1.5%. And then obviously the big loss on the day was Rhodes Food, which was down over 19%, you know, after coming out with some interim results. But that was a bit of a shocker.
No, absolutely, and we'll get to Rhodes. Maybe let's go to Rhodes Food Group, RFG, as they now go by, before we get into some other company news.
Yep.
I mean, a really, really dim picture that they've painted, and it's all got to do with the staggering inflation that I spoke about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, look, I mean, inflation is up, and I mean, you know, the other problem is that their costs, especially with aluminum cans and all of these things, that's been skyrocketing as well. So it's just, it is a bit of a grim picture at this moment in time. And the big problem is going to be is that they need to obviously pass those costs on to consumers. And that's just going to add also to inflation as well. So I do see quite a bit of cost increases coming, let alone tomorrow. Obviously, I mean, everybody's expecting that 50 basis point increase in the interest rates. So that's also going to be another impact. Yeah, but it is coming. I mean, Rhodes, like you said, I mean, the profits are not bad. It wasn't, you know, the results were actually quite good. They were okay. But the big warning sign is the increase in costs.
No, absolutely. What was interesting today, Ridwaan, and I wonder if you'd agree, Transaction Capital, they released their numbers today, and then with a little bit of focus on We Buy Cars, which they recently took over, that business really doing well for them. And I'm wondering, what is it saying about the health of the consumer? Or are people moving from buying new cars and focusing on second-hand cars?
So yes, this was one of the things that was very interesting, which you just, I mean, we've just seen fuel prices at record highs.
Yeah.
So one would expect with such high fuel prices, well, car sales shouldn't be actually doing so well. Yet We Buy Cars, I mean, we were talking, the headline earnings is up by 58%. And Transaction Capital, as you rightfully said, I mean, in 2021, they increased their shareholding in it to just over 74%. But it's done phenomenally well. The big thing, though, is that, and you rightly said it just now, is it's second-hand car market. We Buy Cars is massive in the second-hand car market. I mean, they own a massive amounts of cars, and they've been selling them at good prices. But the thing is I think it's also, you'll notice if you were to really dive into those sales, you'll find that it's most probably amongst the more smaller cars, you know, the more economical cars. And very much then you're looking at people downgrading from the big heavy SUVs, maybe going into smaller cars, you know, for day-to-day traveling. So you've got to also take that into account as well.
No, absolutely, Ridwaan. I wish we had a little bit more time, but we have run out of it. Thank you very much. We'll catch up next week. That is Ridwaan Moolla, who's the CEO of eNCA Markets, giving us an update on today's biggest market movements. And that's